Application number 147-26, Jamie Barhorst and Chase Barhorst. Permission to leave pool patio having rear yard of 2.5 feet instead of required 6 feet, and shed having 5.3 feet behind the front line of the dwelling instead of required 10 feet, and side yard of 1.4 feet instead of required 2 feet. Residence B District, east side of Milligan Lane, 900 feet north of Butler Street, West Islip.
Good evening. My name is Joe Damiano. I reside at 6 Riviera Court, Wading River, New York, 11792. I'm the owner of the swimming pool company that constructed the pool and patio at Jamie Barhorst residence.
Hi, I'm Jamie Barhorst, and I reside at 853 Milligan Lane, West Islip, New York.
Do you have anything? All right, so you're here for the patio, the
That's
shed,
correct.
and then the side yard on the dwelling? No, side yard on the shed, okay, right, all right. Right, the shed and the patio? All right.
And I have letters from all of my neighbors that they are in
Would you like to
approvals.
submit those?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I have a question. You the pool company?
I am.
Did you install the pool?
I did.
Missed.
No, the pool's,
What is it missed?
Is the pool, oh, it's
The
not.
patio.
It's the
patio.
pavement. It's the pavement. I
Yeah.
apologize, I read it wrong.
It's a
I
patio.
thought you put it in the wrong spelling.
Then you get a brownie point.
Any other questions
like
from the board?
brownies.
No questions. Thanks, Bill.
Planning, any comments on this?
No comment.
Is there anyone else that'd like to be heard in this matter? All right, I'll take a motion, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll make a motion to grant the application.
Thank you very much. Second, all in favor? Aye. Application's granted.
Thank you so
application
much.
number 148-26, John and Sandra Klein. Permission to leave driveway having side yard of 0.5 feet instead of required 4 feet. Residence A District, east side of 10th Street, 575 feet north of Manhattan Boulevard, Islip Terrace.
Your name and address for the record?
Good evening, Sandra Klein, 741 10th Street, Islip Terrace, New York.
Okay, and you're here on this, on the driveway side yard variance?
Yeah.
Any questions from the board? Planning, any comments?
No comment.
Is there anyone else that'd like to be heard in this matter? I'll take a motion, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I make a motion to grant the application.
Second, all in favor? Application's granted, thank you.
Thank you.
Application number 149-26, Jeremy Wiley and Carrie Van Brunt Wiley. Permission to leave egress window having side yard of 12 feet instead of required 18 feet. Residence AA District, northeast corner of Academy Street and April Lane, Bayport.
I'm Carrie Van Brunt Wiley, 159 Academy Street in Bayport.
Okay, and you're here for the egress window?
Yes.
All right, any questions from the board?
No questions.
Planning, any comments?
No comment.
Is there anyone else that'd like to be heard in this matter? Take a motion, please.
Make a motion to grant the application.
Second, please.
Second.
All in favor? Application's granted.
Thank you.
Application number 150-26, Antonio and Suzanne Carrera. Permission to use dwelling for two-family, family use only pursuant to Islip Town Code, Section 68-419.1. Residence AAA District, south side of Woods Edge Court, 378 feet east of Hoffman Lane, Hauppauge.
Antonio Carrera, 10 Woods Edge Court, Hauppauge, New York, 11788.
All right, you're looking for the two-family, family use application?
Yes.
And who are the family members that'll be there?
It's my father, my wife, and, the accessory apartment or the whole house?
Well, the accessory apartment is your
So in the
father,
accessory apartment is going to be my father. He's
76?
9'8", yeah.
Okay, we've got the
Right there.
paperwork on that, thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions from the board?
No questions.
No. Planning, any comments?
No comment.
Is there anyone else that'd like to be heard in this matter? All right, I'll take a motion, please.
Make a motion to approve the application for a period of 3 years. Second.
All in favor? Application's granted for 3 years.
Thank you.
Application number 151-26, 201 Anchorage Drive LLC, Nicholas Severino. Permission to erect two-story addition and decking, leaving front yard of 29.6 feet instead of required 30 feet, side yard of 11.7 feet instead of required 14 feet, total side yards of 26.8 feet instead of required 28 feet, and floor area ratio of 28.14% instead of permitted 25%. Residence A District, north side of Anchorage Drive, 270.79 feet west of Snedeker Avenue, West Islip.
John Bracco, architect, 111 Railroad Avenue, Sayville, New York. Good evening, members of the board. John Bracco, architect, on behalf of the owner and applicant, Nicholas Severino. We're here before you tonight in regards to FAR, front and side yard setbacks for proposed additions to this existing two-story residence. In regards to the FAR, I know the board has been amenable to FARs at or under 30% in the past. We are seeking 28.14%. In regards to the front and side yard setback variances, we are seeking the existing home and proposed additions to the home meet the required front and side yard setbacks. The only thing we are seeking the front and side yard variances for is a proposed deck with pergola above on the front and west side of the property. The front yard variance we are seeking is 29.6 feet where 30 feet is required, and the west side is 11.7 where 14 feet is required. The front yard variance is de minimis at 0.4 feet. The west side where we are seeking the side yard variance is actually adjacent to the Cedar Point Grand Canal, which is about 80 feet wide, and it's about 100 feet to the nearest home to the west. Therefore, we feel it has no negative impact on the neighbor to the west. And if the board has any questions.
Lanning, any comments?
No comment. No comment.
Does anyone else like to be heard in this matter? Take a motion, please.
Thank you.
Application number 152-26, Emily Nadler, permission to erect two-story addition, leaving side yard of 12.66 feet instead of required 14 feet, entrance platform 5 by 8, leaving side yard of 6.33 feet instead of required 14 feet, patio and walkway, leaving side yard of 3 feet instead of required 4 feet, and to use dwelling for two-family, family use only pursuant to Islip Town Code Section 68-419.1. Residence A District, east side of Division Avenue, 544.4 feet north of Union Boulevard, East Islip.
Good evening, members of the Board of Appeals. My name is Louis Trentadue. I'm with the Architects Atmosphere Design Group and the expediting firm 32 Design Studio. I represent the interest of Emily Nadler. She and her family live at 67 Division Avenue in East Islip. She, her husband, her son, and her future daughter-in-law are sitting right there. We're here this evening to seek relief with regard to a side yard encroachment. The minimum side yard required on the affected part of the property is 14 feet. We're looking to erect a two-story addition, and the reason for this addition is it will incorporate a garage conversion so that we can create living space for Courtney, who is the future daughter-in-law. Courtney, unfortunately, has a medical condition, and the family has decided that on top of that, due to the economic conditions, they would like to see that their son, Jacob, and Courtney live in the home as long as possible. Courtney has submitted a medical letter from her mother-in-law, Emily, and also from her doctor with regard to MS, and she's having difficulty, and it's hit or miss with what will happen in the future, so we designed the addition to accommodate her needs as much as we could. There's also, in addition to the fact that the side yard encroaches, the addition encroaches into the side yard by 12.66 feet, violating the 14-foot minimum. There's a stoop, a platform, if you will, being erected on that side. The platform is designed so that it will have the minimum radius needed in order to turn a wheelchair in the event it does go that route. There's also a distance relationship where we worked out if they ever do feel they need to get a ramp, they'll file a separate permit for that, and that will be, of course, joined onto the platform I just mentioned. The house currently has 3 bedrooms on the first floor. There's a full bathroom on the first floor, a full bathroom in the basement, and the addition will add 2 bedrooms, which will be upstairs, and it will also have a half bath on the first floor and a full bath on the second floor. There's plans for a kitchen, and the application is set for it's a apartment accessory use for her and her parents. This will be designed in such a way where she will be able to maneuver through the space as easily as possible. And in the event that things do become much worse, there's plans to get a lift attachment for the stairwell that will go to the second floor for her bedroom. I just want to say that it's been great working with the family. They are absolutely wonderful. They're biting at the bit to do everything the right way. They've been absolutely incredible to work with. I have consent letters that they were able to gather. May I approach the board to give these to you? Thank you. I'm sorry? Oh, yes, yeah. And incidentally, one of the letters is from the leftmost neighbor, which is the affected neighbor in reality. I want to further mention that the owners have done everything they could to minimize any disruption that would be imposed upon this neighbor. And again, this neighbor is on full board to have this project be built. There's no windows that would violate the neighbor's privacy. There's one window in the bathroom. It was really the only place to put it. Okay.
The only thing here that would, in theory, be concerning is 6.3, but it's to an entrance platform, which is totally fine. I mean, yeah, it's.
Thank you very much. Have a nice evening, and I'll see you again in the summer.
Application number 153-26, Marta Sarmiento. Permission to use dwelling for two-family, family use only pursuant to Islip Town Code, Section 68-419.1. Residence AA District, south side of Plum Street, 110 feet east of Ferndale Avenue, Central Islip.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Roxanne Trella, Dynamic Expediting Services with offices at 231 Islip Avenue, Islip, New York. We are here tonight for permission to use the dwelling as a two-family, family use only. The dwelling will be occupied by a mother and a daughter. A medical note has been submitted, and they have passed all of their inspections and are just awaiting ZBA approval in order for their CO to be issued.
Okay, any questions from the board? No questions. Planning, anything?
No comment.
Okay. Is there anyone else that'd like to be heard in this matter? Take a motion, please.
Motion to grant the application for a period of 3 years.
Can I get a second? All in favor? Aye. Application is granted for a period of 3 years.
Thank you.
Application number 125-26, adjourned from March 3rd, 2026, Jose and Jacqueline Molina. Permission to establish accessory apartment pursuant to Islip Town Code Section 68-602, having gross floor area of 811 square feet instead of permitted 800 square feet, lot width of 62.5 feet instead of required 75 feet, lot area of 6,609 square feet instead of required 7,500 square feet, and to leave roofed-over cellar entrance and awning having floor area ratio of 27% instead of permitted 25%. Residence B District, west side of Weeks Avenue, 106.73 feet north of Suffolk Avenue, Central Islip.
Good evening again, Roxanne Trella, Dynamic Expediting Services with offices at 231 Islip Avenue, Islip, New York. This application was adjourned on March 3rd because the lot area and the lot width were not included in the original call of the meeting. The accessory apartment is 811 square feet. The dwelling is owner occupied. The driveway has not been approved by engineering yet, but they did note on their report that the driveway is large enough to fit 4 cars. However, we do need to modify the apron so that 2 cars can fit out of the driveway at the same time. This house has also passed all of their building, plumbing, and electrical inspections. And we're also here for the roof over cellar entrance, which is increasing the FAR to 27% instead of the 25% that is permitted, but we are not requesting any setback variances for that roof over.
As far as it being undersized, the only real concern there would be whether or not it could accommodate the vehicles. So that would be determination to be made by engineering.
Is there anyone else like to be heard in this matter?
Thank you.
Application number 154-26, 300 Frigate Roadway Holdings LLC. Permission to erect roof deck 735 square feet, resulting in floor area ratio of 39.86% instead of permitted 30%, and 2 accessory structures resulting in rear yard occupancy of 19.7% instead of permitted 12.5%. Residence BAA District, northwest terminus of Frigate Roadway, Corneal Estates.
Good evening again, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Roxanne Trella, Dynamic Expediting Services, with offices at 231 Islip Avenue, Islip, New York. I would like to have the call of the meeting amended. We actually were able to recalculate the FAR with planning and zoning today, and the FAR was reduced to 37.33%. As far as the precedent for the FAR is concerned, we were able to locate several cases. However, I would like to separate them because of the 2011 code amendment. There are 3 that specifically apply to our property. We have one that was granted in 2023. That's case number 579-23, where an FAR of 41% was approved. We have a case from 2020. This is the most similar to our property in that it included the addition and the roof deck. That is case number 019-20, and an FAR was approved at 39%. We have one prior to the code amendment. However, the decision did specify the FAR. That is case number 614-06. The FAR was approved at 49.2%. However, the decision did distinguish that if the decking were to be removed from the FAR, it would still come in at 39.6%. So we do have 3 well over what is being requested, and there are at least 7 or 8 more that are also higher than the normal FAR for that area. That brings us to the rear yard occupancy. Due to the odd shape of the lot, the rear yard is limited to only 2,000 square feet of the property. Based on that, the rear yard occupancy that would be permitted would be a little over 200 square feet. We do have one shed that is on an active permit that is 200 square feet, and they're looking to maintain 2 accessory structures. They'll be used for storage. This is on a waterfront property, and they would like to store umbrellas, beach chairs, bicycles, and other necessities that they need. We're not seeking any other variances for the deck itself. It doesn't require any setbacks, side yard, front yard, doesn't require a height variance. It strictly is just bringing up the FAR. So one of the precedents that I used specifically was to enlarge a roof deck on that property. That case was from 2020, and that FAR was granted at 39% with a similar size roof deck. I don't have the exact size of that deck. So there is an active permit for the dwelling, and there is an active permit for a roof deck already. This is going to be slightly larger, but again, we're not seeking any variances. They have permits that are already issued by the town of Islip on file for the dwelling and for a roof deck. This is going to increase the roof size slightly from what that active permit has. So right now, the roof deck is about 7% of the FAR. Let's see.
The way I understood it was this was already approved, she just now wants to make it bigger and now require a variance. Is that accurate?
Technically, yes. Yes. The permit is issued for 2-story dwelling with gas fireplace, roof deck, outdoor kitchen. It's permit number 228398. Let me see if I have that on here. Do you have it? This is the architect on file. He can better answer that question for you.
Hi, my name is Jose Garcia. My office is at 11 Roslyn Street, Islip Terrace, New York, 11752. The original permit had a roof deck. The existing roof deck was about 42 square feet. So it was, yeah, about 8 by 6 area or so. So we, and just for the record, this house has two levels. So there's an upper level, the roof deck is behind that, so it's not. Yes. Yes. Right.
That's a bit hard for me to distinguish. I don't know specifically that. I would be surprised if we have many roof decks that are that large. It's usually not separated out that specifically. But yeah, to try to answer your question, it is a large roof deck, and I would be surprised if there's many like that size.
I'm not sure that there's a zoning code that limits the size of it.
Right, we're not going any bigger than the original approved footprint. We're just. The original, we were under the 30.
Right, so it would seem to me that while we do not directly govern the size of roof deck, we do govern FAR, and the substantial increase to the FAR here seems to be attributed to the roof deck.
Right.
So while we don't directly govern the size of roof decks, we do govern FAR, and here the increase to FAR is all roof deck. So
Yes.
Ipso facto, we do in fact govern the size of roof decks.
Right.
Especially here.
Just to clarify one thing really quick, the amendment to the FAR, that was the removal of one of the sheds from counting, right? There was no change to the project otherwise?
Right.
Okay.
Correct.
No, it's large. If you were to put a percentage, I mean, the house itself the footprint is about 1,800 square feet, so this is about half, a little under half. The footprint.
I guess I have a couple of things to say. As far as the 3 cases that she cited, I will agree with her. Those 3 cases were granted those FARs. I don't think that's the end-all, be-all. 3 cases on Fire Island is not so much in tightly, densely packed areas like this. But those cases are legitimate. What was going to be your question? Within 500 feet, I don't know specifically how close beyond that. I don't think any of them are like right next door necessarily, but they're all within 500 feet certainly. As far as the proposal itself, I would agree with the board's concerns that it is a very large roof deck, and that is factored into their FAR. So they got a building permit that was conforming, and they were issued that permit, so now they're seeking to expand the roof deck. Certainly 42 feet is not a very large roof deck. I can understand wanting to be larger than that.
Bigger than my roof deck.
Yes, many of us don't have a roof deck at all, but 735 is a very large one. It is, as I understand it, an elevated dwelling. It's a new dwelling in a flood zone, right?
Yes.
So I can definitely understand the potential concerns there, yeah.
I will say, just to add, that while we do have 3 FARs within the 500 feet, after the code amendment, we do have several that were prior to the code amendment. I would have to go back and calculate exactly what part of those were decks, but they go as high as 55%, 47%. So,
There's a distinction between decking, which on Fire Island would encompass most of the property, and roof decks. I don't think you can equate them.
right, that's what I'm saying. These include decking. So if I took the calculation, even at 55, if I took 15% off for decks, that would still bring us to 40, which is larger than what we're asking for. I do know that specifically one of the precedents that is within 500 feet was for an enlargement of a roof deck. I could go back, I know there are several roof decks in the area, and see the proportion between the size of the house to the size of the roof deck, if the size is what is the main concern here. Do you want to adjourn or do you want to reserve doing a packet? I just want to, do you want to speak?
Yeah, can I?
So your options, just so you know. So your options here are for you to get an adjournment and submit extra information, or reserve it, but then we take 60 to 90 days for a decision.
No, so you
and I
want
could
an
still-
adjournment.
and I can call it an adjournment.
Yeah, I just want to. Yeah, no. How you doing, guys? Matt Fabrizio, property owner and the builder. Address Matt Fabrizio, 29 Degnon Boulevard, Bay Shore. The house has different levels to it. Just explaining the roof deck a little bit. It is blocked by 2 full sides, and the other side we planned on a privacy screen just to make it a little bit more private. It is, I'd say, half of the roof. We said.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it is hidden very well. It's not obtrusive. It doesn't stick out. The overhangs of the house are 2 feet, and the roof deck is all the way back to the edge of the house as well. Just wanted to put that in there. We could lower the FAR a little bit if that would help. 35%.
Would it be possible to take a short adjournment so that we could come back with the additional information? Reserve 2 weeks. Can you get me elevations
We have elevations. Yeah, we have elevations, yeah.
to show more?
Yeah.
Okay. Can we take what week to submit a packet with elevations and any additional information relating to roof decks in the area? Yes.
Do they not hear the other portion of it right now? The deck, the shed.
Sure.
Hi, good evening. My name is Elizabeth Himmel. I personally live at 6044 Putnam Avenue in Queens, but my family lives at 43 Surf Road in Ocean Beach, which is directly to the east of this property. It's the L-shaped house that you see. We've lived in that property since 1956, and my retired parents and aunt live there continuously all summer long, from May to October. I'm here on their behalf to respectfully oppose the expansion of this roof deck from the approved 40 square feet to 735 square feet on the grounds that it creates the opportunity for very large gatherings of people in a location that's roughly 25 feet over our heads and directly overlooking our living space. Well, we can handle the privacy, I think, but the real problem is the noise, which I'm sure is not surprising. The sound travels extremely well on Fire Island in the humid air, and it's very quiet there. And the elevated decking and the construction, the new construction in our neighborhood has proven to be the worst and most frustrating source of disruptive noise. So when these tall, newer properties have outdoor parties, especially on elevated decks, day or night, we could hear every aspect with sometimes disturbing clarity. I was in our home for a week last October when the building crew was working on the roof of this new house, And I was unfortunately not surprised to find that even at something like 50 feet away, if one person was playing music from his phone in his pocket on the roof, I could easily hear that music from inside my house. It's crazy. It's like a science experiment. I don't know how the sound travels so clearly. And it's not at all our intention to be oppositional towards our new neighbors who are by all accounts intending to reside in the house. But we have been here for 70 years, and unfortunately the words roof deck are an immediate trigger and great source of concern and anxiety for us and many of our longstanding neighbors. The new house has well over 1,000 square feet of as of right raised decking and a balcony, all with a completely unobstructed view of the bay and the sunset from all levels of the house, according to the plans that we were given in about, I think, February of last year, and which are published online. And they have access to the bulkhead. They have an approved 40 square foot roof deck, which seems like a great amenity and never gave us pause. It's very small. I could see having a drink up there and enjoying the view probably all the way to the ocean because it's a very tall house. But we have to recognize that the main advantage for a 4-bedroom house to have an additional 700 square feet of unshaded rooftop amenity space is to host large gatherings, which makes it even more valuable as a short-term rental property in the present or the future. Yep. It's just the sound. I mean, the house doesn't offend me. Yeah, we're worried about it, and we know it's been allowed before, but we hope that it will not be allowed this time.
Thank you.
Application number 155-26, Giovanni and Celia Marie Granda. Permission to erect shed 7 by 20, leaving 5 feet behind the front, oh, sorry, is that a 3? 3 feet behind the front line of the dwelling instead of required 10 feet. Residence B District, east side of Higby Lane, 150 feet north of Kime Street, West Islip.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Giovanni Granda. I reside at 819 Higby Lane. I'm just looking for permission to erect a shed under 144 square feet, which I know is the limit. The setback I require is in a particular location where the shed would fit adequately. Unfortunately, the property size itself is relatively small in my backyard. I don't really have much of a backyard as it is. So that's the reason for the requirement or the request.
Planning, any comments?
So we actually just relatively recently changed this code. It was originally 20 feet would be required. We recently changed it to 10 to try to better accommodate people with the understanding that a lot of these structures being pushed that far back would get into people's, backyard space. I find it a bit difficult to justify doing 3 feet instead of 10 feet just after we changed it for something that's a completely new construction. I can understand he wants to put it outside the bounds of his masonry patio and all of that, but
The main problem is that if I go back, at least if it was 20 feet, which was the regulation I was looking at, that would literally put it almost, even so, it would go directly over a patio versus a space that's unoccupied. I do have, I think you guys have a copy of the survey. Okay, so, yeah, that's all.
That means, sir, we're going to discuss
Okay. Gotcha. All right, thank you.
Application number 156-26, Tatiana Chavez. Permission to leave shed having front yard of 11.3 feet instead of required 25 feet, and rear yard of 2.7 feet instead of required 4 feet, and 6-foot fence having front yard of 0.7 feet instead of required 8 feet. Residential redevelopment district, northeast corner of Bridger Boulevard and Kelly Avenue, Central Islip.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tatiana Chavez. My residence in 42 Bridgewood Boulevard, Central Island, New York, 11.
You may have to slow down a little. Yeah.
You hear me well?
Has to
His
take
name
a
Oh,
minute
I'm
to
sorry about that. I am here to testify. They're telling me about the fence I was removable. Original, when I buy the house, it was with a wood fence. Only I did is remove the old and install the new ones.
Same height?
The same height.
Planning, what do you have for us on this?
So, we have in our fence code a corner lot exception for fences on the second front property line. For now, everything that's under 13,000 square feet, that was another recent change. This property is well below that. However, evidently in this specific zoning district, the residential redevelopment district, we have a separate fencing code that says it needs to be 8 feet, and the exception does not technically apply to that. I personally think that's a bit of an oversight.
Yes.
So I don't think this is a problem at all, and realistically, it should have been included as an exception.
Have we granted any of these exceptions before?
Well, if it fits the exception, we wouldn't have to do a grant, but I
In
maybe
the
I
RR
misunderstood.
You mean in the RRD?
Yeah.
In the
I think we
RRD?
have.
Yeah,
I feel like
I'm not sure if we have, but
If we haven't, we should start.
okay.
I said to agree with Mr. McCabe on this.
Yes,
It seems like it was a sloppy draftsmanship of the code.
Yeah.
More than intent.
All right. Anyone else would like to be heard in this matter? I'll take a motion, please. Everything else is okay on the application?
Yeah. In light of.
Nick? Everything else is okay with the application?
The shed.
The shed, basically.
So similar to what you said, if it were B zoning, we've amended accessory structure to allow them to be closer to the second front yard, but we forgot to go back and do so in RRD. So if it were B, it would only require 15.
So it would be de minimis.
Yeah.
All right, I'll take a motion, please.
Motion to grant the application in light of the unique circumstances relating to the property and the code together.
All in favor?
Aye.
Application is granted.
Thank you.
Application number 157-26, Jose Portillo and Efren and Yarixa Escobar. Permission to leave partially enclosed roofed-over patio having side yard of 3.4 feet instead of required 14 feet. Patio having side yard of 3.4 feet instead of required 4 feet. Driveway having side yard of 1.7 feet instead of required 4 feet. Walkway having front yard occupancy of 15.5% instead of permitted 12%. Shed having rear yard of 2.6 feet instead of required 4 feet. And shed having rear yard of 1.4 feet instead of required 2 feet. Residence B District, south side of Franklin Street, 200 feet west of Washington Avenue, Brentwood.
Good evening. My name is Damari Moreno. I'm with New Horizon Expediting. I am located at 70 East Main Street, Patchogue, New York, 11772. I'm here for the homeowner, Jose Portillo. He's actually here. We are seeking patio roof over side yard 3.4 feet, patio side yard 3.4 feet, driveway side yard 1.7 feet, walkway front yard coverage 15.5%, shed rear yard 2 feet and 1.4 feet. I actually went around the neighborhood and I seen that there are other houses, 4 of them that have roof over as similar as his, and actually probably bigger than his. Can I give it to you guys? Can I hand that over?
Are they all variances? Planning, what do you have for us on this?
This is a fairly weird neighborhood in Brentwood. I don't know how this came about, but there's actually, she's not wrong, there are a lot of roof over patios, sometimes grants of carports at 2 feet instead of 14. I don't necessarily agree with it, but there are many such cases and multiple board grants to that effect, approving 2-foot roof over patios. Again, I don't really agree with that, but it could be argued. I will say that I don't know of any partially enclosed roof over patios of the same. As far as I understand, the partial enclosure in this case is a wall facing towards the neighbor. So I definitely don't like that part of it, and that is separate from all of the other grants.
There's actually neighbors here from the homeowner. They are here to say that they don't feel like there's an interference with the roof over and the driveway and everything else.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure these neighbors probably don't mind. I don't think we should be allowing people to have full structural walls so close to their property lines. I don't think that's a good idea.
Yes. Hi, I'm Vanessa. I live next door to him. Vanessa Thompson. 54 Franklin Street in Brentwood. I also have the overhang on the side of my home as well. That was there when I purchased my home. So I know his was there. Excuse me? Yes. They had to get the permits for it before I purchased the home. Yes. So his was there as well. So I don't have an issue with the closing that he has on there.
Vanessa.
Oh, yes. No, it's the overhang. Yes. No.
Good evening. My name is Hector Cordero. I reside at 57 Franklin Street. I'm right across the street from Jose. I don't see no issue really with the awning hanging over his property. I'm over there 30 years, and that awning's been there since I've been there.
Yes.
I also bought the letter from his neighbor from the other side.
Okay, thank you. We also have another letter from the neighbor on the other side. Do you guys, can I give it to you guys? Yes.
Yeah, so again, just to clarify, I could cite at least 5 or 6 cases ranging between 2 and 5 feet for a roof over patio in the area. Important to note, at least 4 of those cases explicitly say never to be enclosed as a condition. Yeah, no issue with the balance of the application.
Motion to deny that portion of the application relating to the enclosure and to grant the balance of the application.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yeah. It is. Because Nick said it was in all the others. NTBE we read as I know. Application number 158-26, Michelle and Robert Distelkamp. Permission to leave hot tub having side yard of 3.6 feet instead of required 18 feet, patio having side yard of 3.6 feet, and driveway having side yard of 1 foot instead of required 4 feet each. Residence AA District, west side of Walnut Avenue, 382.4 feet south of Karshik Street, Bohemia.
Hi, good evening. Michelle Distelkamp, 836 Walnut Avenue, Bohemia.
Oh, sorry, Robert Distelkamp, 836 Walnut Avenue, Bohemia.
All right, and you're here for the hot tub and the patio and the driveway? Yes. Okay. Any questions from the board? Planning, any comments?
Yeah, so this is something I've mentioned multiple times before. Hot tubs getting the same setbacks as pools is incredibly rough for the applicants. I don't think it's really as big of an issue as an above-ground pool, but with that being said, 3.6 instead of 18 is still substantial enough that it would give me pause and some concern. Usually the concern with this kind of thing would be the noise that it could generate. People gather in the hot tub, you're this close to the neighboring property. That would be the theoretical concern there. And 3.6 is a very substantial request.
See, the problem that Nick is just saying is that the code says 18.
Yes.
We grant variances, not substantial. If you had 16 feet, 14 feet, 16.6.
Right.
Takes the code and throws it out the window. So we have difficulty with 3.6 feet.
Okay.
We move the hot tub.
It's going to be
okay.
difficult
Yeah.
because we need to, I guess, hire a crane or something to remove it. Like they brought it in on a machine.
What's on the other side of the property?
Our neighbors, it's their backyard. It's like a wooded area there. We
No, the
actually,
other side.
oh.
It's the
other
driveway.
side? Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's new. We spoke to our neighbors before we installed it. They were okay with it. You know, we told them about the hearing. They were notified of it. I didn't get a letter from them because they really, it's just us and our 2 kids. Like, we really don't have large parties. Yeah. I mean, would it help if we got a letter from him? Because they really weren't opposed to it at all, and we haven't had a complaint from them. And it'd be pretty costly to move it at this point. I don't really know how we would be able to do it on our own.
Yeah, it's what, code says 18 for a reason. It's higher than the pool.
Well, for a what we looked up was a regular size hot tub didn't have to be 18 feet. It's because it's like 2 square feet over the size that it makes it into this pool category.
What would it have to be if it was a little smaller?
It's like 2 square feet less.
No, but what would then the setbacks be?
I don't exactly know, but I know it's not 18 feet. I think it was just a normal 4 feet.
I will admit I've never heard that.
The Fire Island.
I'm not familiar
Well,
with
then
what
I
they are
must have
citing
looked at the
currently.
wrong-
When people are talking over the sound of the engine, the sound travels. That's our concern.
Okay.
It's not that we want to not give you what you want.
Right.
We have to maybe reserve and think about this. Because if we allow this, then people on the other side, they'll want to do it.
I understand.
Yeah, that measurement actually came to, I was measuring out the fence, not knowing that the property line, where that fence was. I know, that's what I'm saying, it was the 4 feet, that's what I thought we were allowed. Until. Thank you.
Application number 159-26, Eli Rosales and Jocelyn Vasquez Marroquin. Permission to leave one-story addition, 22 by 23.9 irregular, with attached roof-over patio, having side yards of 14 feet and 11.8 feet instead of required 18 feet each, total side yards of 25.8 feet instead of required 36 feet, and floor area ratio of 29.4% instead of permitted 25%. Residence AA District, west side of Willoughby Street, 100 feet north of Glenmore Avenue, Brentwood.
Hi, Jose Taveras, architect, 1193, P.O. Box 1193, West Babylon, New York. Basically, this existing one-story addition, which has been done without a permit, and the proposed second floor roofed-over deck with a side yard setback of 14 feet and 11.8 feet both, does bring us to an FAR of 29.4%. Obviously, the reason why the owner extended this, he needed more space for his family and so forth, and he wanted to have a little deck up above. It is in keeping with the existing width of the house, so he's not making it any worse, but it is not the correct setbacks. No, I didn't. No, I didn't see any that I'm aware of in the area. Yeah. Yes.
Well, I guess to answer your question, no, there is not, but there is a good reason for that. This is one of only 2 properties in the neighborhood that are 50 feet in width. Everybody else has a full-sized 100 width lot. So when you're looking at 50 feet in width with 18 feet in required setbacks, that gives you only 14 feet in between those. That's honestly rather difficult for anybody to work with, so I can understand them having non-conforming side yard setbacks. Like he did mention, these are the existing setbacks for the house on the property. They're doing an expansion out the back in line. So, yes, the setbacks aren't good. No, it's not necessarily keeping in character with the neighborhood. This property is not in character with the neighborhood either. It's significantly more undersized compared to basically everyone else around them. The only way I could think of is if you clarify in the decision that you were doing so because of an understanding that it is 50 feet allowed width.
So I'm just gonna say, look, you grant 11.8, and we're gonna say, oh, you're right there. Well, I think that a good distinguisher, and I'm not saying I'm in favor of approving this, is that it's in line with the existing setbacks of the house. Right? I guess that is a mitigating factor, and it's the only one, because just because the lot is too narrow, in my opinion, doesn't mean that we need to break more rules for them. You have to, with all due respect. You have to build a house that fits. I can go either way on this application. I haven't made up my mind.
I understand. We understand about that. The
Does anyone else would like to be heard in this matter?
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to reserve the decision. So what that means is we're going to take time to discuss this behind closed doors. You'll have an answer from us within 62 days as required by the state law.
wait, how many days?
62. Not saying we take all
No,
that.
no, I know.
The law says we have to take a decision.
Yes.
Good thing that it's 78, right?
That's all right. Thank you. All right, take.
And I'll read it in with the
You could do
others.
it again.
That's what it is. Application number 160-26, Maria Aviles Velasco with Life Estate to Maria Aviles. Permission to leave roofed over patio, 13 by 22, having side yard of 2 feet instead of required 14 feet, and shed having rear yard of 0.7 feet instead of required 2 feet. Residence B District, north side of Stockton Street, 225 feet west of Jefferson Avenue, Brentwood.
Hi, Tim Jordan, 74 Cherry Lane, Smithtown, New York. Here today representing Maria Vilas Velasco and her daughter Maria Vilas, who is seated behind me. We are here today for requesting relief for a roofed-over patio, having a 2-foot setback where 14 is required. The particular roofed-over patio was built in the 90s when she was a child. It has been maintained nicely, recently re-sided a couple of years ago. And we are also here for a shed, an 8x10 shed, having 1.7 feet where 2 feet is required. I have a picture of some of the items, but the shed appears to have a little bit of a scratch coat and could be moved forward to comply with some muscle.
So are you asking us to strike that portion of the application for the shed?
I don't know if we could, if there's enough for the 2 feet, but I think we could probably at least get it to a manageable 1 foot. Unless you're okay with the
You can
shed.
leave the muscle and leave it right.
Okay.
Planning, any comments on the roofed-over patio?
So, this is very similar to the previous case that we just had. It's in Brentwood, same as the last one, in a similar neighborhood, if not the same neighborhood. Roof-over patios that are very close to the property line are not that uncommon here for some reason. Whether they're converted carports, I'm not really sure. But, I mean, their next-door neighbor seems to have something like that. Across the street, they have something like that. Or, no, I'm sorry, 2 doors down, they have something like that. They would certainly not be the only ones. This one does stand out maybe a little bit just for the fact that it seems to have not been original to the house. It was built after the fact, but it's certainly not that out of character to have close roof-over patios.
Okay.
So you're saying it's in the nature and character of the neighborhood?
It could be argued to be so.
It's closed though, right?
No.
This one is not
No,
enclosed.
it's not enclosed.
It is not.
So that's why
The
we're gonna
fence
say
is there,
never
it
to
makes
be
it look like it's
Never to be
enclosed.
Yeah.
All right, so.
Last one.
Yeah, all the bedrooms are on the back wall, so the gravitation is to outside the dining room, which is on the side, which is why they built it on the side.
Chris?
Motion, so, motion to grant the application, but not to be enclosed.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Application's granted.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time.
The condition that it not be enclosed.
Application number 161-26, Christopher Lepore and Michelle Leonhardt. Permission to establish accessory apartment pursuant to Islip Town Code Section 68-602, having gross floor area of 820 square feet instead of permitted 800 square feet, and to leave walkway having front yard occupancy of 16.4% instead of permitted 12%. Residence B District, south side of South Robert Street, 700 feet west of Coates Avenue, Holbrook.
Hi, Michelle Leonhardt, 321 South Robert Street, Holbrook, New York, 11741. And this is my mom.
Hi. And we are here to get permission to build.
Put your name and address on the record.
I'm sorry. My name is Vincenza Solfo at 321 South Robert Street. And we are here to get permission to build an accessory apartment for myself.
You want to live together?
Yeah.
Under the same
can you
roof?
believe that? Well, I'll have my own little, I have my own door.
Okay.
Planning, any comments?
No, I have no comments.
Okay. Is anyone else would like to be heard in this matter? All right, take a motion. Who's Holbrook?
I'll make a motion to approve the application and with regard to the accessory apartment for a period of 3 years.
All in favor? Aye. Application's granted for a period of 3 years.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
See. The next application has been, we have a request to adjourn it, and it's been adjourned to April 28. Is there anybody here on the application of Robert Mastrasimone? The application's been adjourned to April 28. Application number 163-26, Scott Coletti, permission to leave detached garage 20.3 by 20.3, having side yard of 3.5 feet instead of required 4 feet, and height of 15.52 feet instead of permitted 14 feet. Shed having side yard of 0.3 feet instead of required 2 feet, air conditioning unit having front yard at 51.4 feet instead of required 55 feet, and to leave 2 front doors for use by one family pursuant to Islip Town Code Section 68-3, definitions of a family. Residence AAA District, northwest corner of Okanee Walk and Lawrence Lane, Bay Shore.
Good evening. My name is Nicholas Pfluger, architect, Boulder Pfluger Architects and Graham Associates. I'm at 256 Orinoco Drive, Brightwaters, New York, 11718. I'm here on behalf of Scott Coletti, and I have Scott also here with me tonight. To address the shed and the garage, these are existing structures that we want to keep in place. They've been on the site in these locations for 30 years plus. Also, the AC unit, it's also existing to remain, so we just want to keep it in place. And as for the 2 front doors, that the existing house actually had 3 front doors, and we're taking one of them out with the renovations that are being done to the house. But Scott would like to keep the second front door, not for any other reason, but to keep a view out to the water that is to the south of his house. So with that, we believe that these variances are in line with the surrounding area, and I can take any questions from the board. Yes. Again, it's existing, so it was built a long time ago, so I can't say how it got that high, other than that's that would be the case, and since it didn't have a CO, and why we're here legalizing it. But I do think, wasn't the max height a while ago 18 feet at one point?
It was that until 2003, I think.
Yeah, so this was built way before. Well, you have to, if you want to speak, you have to. Okay.
If you want to say, predates the code, you can, you prove it, you can't say it was there. Photographs, receipts for when you had it built.
From what I had, can I speak now? No.
You can speak, but you just have to address your name and your address.
Yes, I am. Yeah. Scott Coletti. I currently reside at 3 Nicole Court, Copeg, New York, 11726. So I bought the house about 10 months ago from a very sweet older woman. She was there for 50 years, and the house is 100 years old. And she did a great job explaining the whole property and everything. And as far as I know, the garage is original, or close to it. It's a separate garage from the house.
Here's what I recommend. Your architect probably already knows this. There's programs, websites, you can find historical aerials. Go find an aerial showing that this garage has been there, and then see what you can find in the assessor's office, in the building department, or how long it's been there. Maybe a survey on file. Just cobble something together showing that this garage has been there since the day it was.
So I can interrupt on that, actually. I don't know how high it was at the time, but I am now remembering I have a survey from 1952 that shows a garage seemingly with almost identical, if not identical, dimensions to that in that location.
I mean,
It doesn't specify the height on
the
it.
interior garage has been demoed. We are under permit doing construction, and that structure is
There are also-
decades and decades
There are
old.
ways that the roof beams and the rafters, that they can be aged based on maybe marks and by looking at the nail, stuff like that. There are ways to do it. It's not cheap, but. Why don't you take the sage advice of Mr.
Okay.
And do your diligence and come back and show us whatever you can to convince us that this predates 2003 with respect to the height. Or you can cut 4.5 feet off it. Yeah. One of the other.
Yeah, it's
That
like
seems-
a foot and a half.
That
yeah.
one really seems reasonable.
Yeah, you change the pitch.
That's free, right? Doesn't cost anything to do that.
In order to comply, he would have to rip the entire roof and then reframe it, so.
I know that area.
Yeah.
You're probably right, that it's been there, but.
We'll get some aerials, again, look at the assessors. I know Nick just said he had a survey. Yeah, I've never done that, but, we'll look into that. We'll certainly take a lot of pictures of the interior.
There's maker's marks on a lot of things.
Yeah. Okay. Is there a way to, depending on what the board's decision is on the rest of it? Gotcha. I see. Right. Understood. Is there any other issues that we should look into with the other variance requests?
I'm sorry, about the balance of the application? Yeah, it's fine. I believe the building was inspected and confirmed to be single-family, so I don't think the two front doors is at all a concern, but.
Building is confirmed it's
Yeah,
one bedroom?
inspector confirmed that it's single-family use.
So what if they rate it in the?
I don't know.
Anyone else like to be heard in this matter?
That sounds good. Thank you. Yes, we'll do our best to get all the information that we can on that and present it to the board. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, we'll talk. Yeah.
Application number 164-26, Mark and Valerie Basile. Permission to erect deck having side yard of 6 feet and rear yard of 10 feet instead of required 15 feet each, leaving floor area ratio of 33.56% instead of permitted 30%. Outdoor shower having rear yard of 10 feet instead of required 15 feet. To install above-ground pool, leaving front yard of 46.2 feet instead of required 60 feet. And sanitary system leaving front yard of 11.66 feet instead of required 15 feet. Residence BAA District, southwest corner of Bayview Walk and Dunway Avenue, Seaview.
Good evening, Nicholas Pfluger, architect, Bolo Pfluger Architects and Graham Associates, 256 Orinoco Drive, Brightwaters, New York, 11718. Here on behalf of Mr. and Mrs. Basile. First, I'd like to address the side yard of the deck of 6 feet. The homeowners would actually like to withdraw that part of the variance. They've agreed to just turn the ramp around the corner of the house and put the edge of the deck at 15 feet. So we can actually remove that part of the variance from the request.
Side and rear?
Just the side yard of 6 feet.
Anything else we need to amend on the call?
Yes, one other thing that we saw on the denial and the call that I believe was just an error on the zoning department's side, but they had the raising of the grade at the septic system, 3 to 5 feet, where it's actually only 0.9 feet, so it's under the limitation of the 12 inches. So I think they just saw the elevation number and thought that was the height above grade rather than height above sea level.
So
But we are
if
only.
you're comfortable with removing it, the board doesn't,
then
the
doesn't
board's
matter
not
to you
going
why,
to
yeah.
decide whether, whose mistake it was or
Yeah,
not.
so it's only 0.9 feet, so we can actually remove that part of the,
Reference of the sanitary system leaving front yard. We can strike that.
correct.
Okay. So I'll make a motion that we amend the call of the meeting to strike permission to erect deck having side yard of 6 feet and also sanitary system front yard of 11.6 feet, 6 feet instead of required 15 feet. Second. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Proceed, please.
Yes, so moving on to the rear yard setback of the deck that we are requesting 10 feet. We do have a couple of precedents in the area that have similar setbacks, and of course, I can provide those case numbers. The same thing for the FAR, requesting 33.56%. We feel like this is in line with the area, and we do have some precedents for that as well. We have the shower at 10 feet and the pool at 46.2 feet for the front yard, and we also have precedents for those two things as well. We also have a consent letter from one of the neighbors that I can submit to the board. This person resides at 12 Duneway Avenue, which is just nearby. And with that, I can take any questions from the board.
Yes, I do have comments. To start with, I would say that he is correct. There are grants for a rear yard of 10 feet instead of 15 feet for decks in the area. It's not terribly uncommon. I would contend that most of those grants are substantially different, though, than what they are actually requesting here. When I looked into it, those 10-foot rear yard setbacks were typically to something like a little landing platform, a small section of the deck, not in any way like a gathering area like that. In this case, what we have is close to 100 feet in continual length at 10-foot setback, which includes a barbecue area, a lounge area with a pergola, a second pergola, the hot tub, basically all of the places wherewith one would gather. I don't think those grants in the other cases are really comparable to what they are asking for here based on that criteria. And furthermore, considering this is a completely ground-up build, it's a completely new house, I don't think it was really necessary for them to request this in the first place. So I do take issue with the rear yard deck at 10 feet. On the balance of the application, I did speak with them, so the side yard was addressed. That was a concern for me as well, the 6-foot side yard for the deck. And as far as the balance of the application, I don't believe I have any other concerns. No, none of this deck counts towards their FAR. They designed it very carefully to make sure that wasn't the case.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch what was the thrust of your...
The grants that they are citing for the 10-foot rear yard are typically for something like a landing platform, a small section of deck on smaller properties. In this case, it's at 10 feet for the entire length of the deck, basically, which is about 100 feet. And it's all of the gathering areas, barbecue area, lounge area, pergola. So I don't think it's comparable to those previous grants. Circumstances are materially different, in my opinion. And again, it's a completely new build, so they could have put in more effort to conform.
Okay, so, having heard all that, what is your plan?
My plan of change. Yeah, we didn't necessarily expect that. We were relying on the precedents that we had. Of course, we don't necessarily have access to all the site plans and whatnot to see exactly what was approved other than the actual number. I mean, would the board be comfortable with setting it back to maybe 11 feet? 1 foot? I'm just starting low and just seeing what you're comfortable with. Yeah, maybe we'll just go straight to meeting in the middle, 12.5.
It's one of the bigger properties in the area for sure, and it's a very large deck.
Mhm.
50, this is Mary's patch, 50 by 100. 50 by 100, that's 5 by 5 feet. By 100, that's 500 square
That's
foot.
fine.
That's big.
Understood.
Do you want to go back to the drawing board, or adjust it? Want to go back to the drawing board, or roll it down? Yeah, run the table.
Can I have just a couple seconds?
No, because we have other people here.
Right, sure. Go with 12.5. So, yeah.
Go run to them for 2 seconds and talk, and find out what they want.
Okay.
Literally 5 seconds.
Okay. They are comfortable with 12.5, if that is something that the board would consider? No? All right. Then, I was just going to suggest that. We can adjourn and, yeah. Okay. I will go with the adjournment if I could. Thank you. Have a good night.
Do you want to proceed? We have a quorum, right? Yeah, we got a quorum.
3, yes.
You ready for the quorum?
Application number 165-26, Sean and Melissa Donahoe. Permission to modify roof line, leaving front yard of 7.8 feet instead of required 25 feet, and rear yard of 16.7 feet instead of required 25 feet. Residence BAA District, northeast corner of Central Walk and Cedar Walk, Fair Harbor.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Charles J. Broody, architect, 30 Bethesda Lane, Sable, New York, 11782. As stated in the call, the homeowner seeks permission to raise the first floor addition roof, which would also include the walls, obviously, on this non-conforming lot with non-conforming front yard and side yard setback. With the photos that I had addressed, you can see that the lower one-story has a sloped roof, so that new roof height would be at the maximum height of that sloped roof, which is approximately 13 feet above the finished floor.
The elevations that you provided, the 2 pages, right?
Yes.
Okay.
There's a section and an elevation page, and then photos. It's hard to see most of the house because of the trees and foliage in the front of the house.
Yeah, maybe Nick should see one. Let me go back to
Give them that page and then.
Okay, gotcha.
I have an extra set if you want that. I handed up 2.
We'll take as many as you have.
Okay.
I know, it's just, Nick said it to me.
Oh, here. Oh. Okay.
Required the front part on Central Walk be limited to 1 story in height.
Oh.
And we didn't have your elevations, so. Yeah, 2001, they tried to do a 2-story addition on this house, and the board denied us, submitted. They allowed the 2nd story to go on the north part of the house, but said that the south part of the house, close to Central Walk, had to remain 1 story in height.
Oh, I see.
Which it does here, right?
And from your elevations, they're helpful. You would still say it's 1 story, right, with attic above?
It's correct. It's still a 1-story.
So the height is changing by,
4 to 5 feet.
So there's no height variance being requested?
No.
No, nothing like that. Okay, so yeah, it's like you mentioned to me, Charlie, you're taking where it's currently meeting the 2nd story and you're making it a level plane rather than, what you just said it was like shed roof?
A shed roof, correct.
Yeah, so, okay. It seems consistent.
Oh.
Yeah, it
Thank
seems
you.
consistent with the previous decision.
Does anyone else want to be heard in this application?
Yeah, I think it's consistent.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
application number 166-26, Axel Xavier Villatoro Padilla, Sarah Padilla, and Eliezer Ezequiel Villanueva. Permission to establish accessory apartment pursuant to Islip Town Code, Section 68-602, and to leave 1-story addition enclosing indoor pool having side yard of 6.2 feet instead of required 14 feet. Residence AA District, north side of Spur Drive North, 100 feet east of Brookville Avenue, Islip.
Good evening for everybody. Before everything, I apologize. I was supposed to have a translator here to help me, but he canceled me ahora. But I will try to do it the best on my own, okay? I just need a little bit of patience. I am here just to
Can you
ask you for
start
the...
by giving us your full address, too?
The full address is the 1401 Sport Drive, South Islip, and the zip code is 11751.
Thank you. You're doing great.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. You know.
And your first name is?
I am here just to ask you the permission, the approval of my application. It's about the enclosing indoor pool and the accessory apartment, which I found it built when I bought the property in the 2024. And I am trying to improve for my 22 years old son, but unfortunately he is working out of state. He is supposed to be here with me. Axel is his name. Nothing, you know, it's just I would like to get the permission to keep it because the biggest factor, I mean, to buy the house was for me, my daughter, my wife. The biggest reason to buy the house was the pool, the enclosed pool. And, you know, it's really hard. And when you have to pay the price, and now I have to pay for the consequences of my mistakes because I hired an attorney to figure out everything was in order on the house. But unfortunately, he said never was updated on the system, and here is some information. I can give you hundreds of complaints he's about here. It's the price to be a new buyer. So I don't know, I am in the disposition of do everything on the right way, so I just need your permission to keep it, please. You can see, the biggest issue is you can see the house is in an angle on the property. It's something weird, and the corner on the right side is too close to the border lines. And I mean, the accessory apartment is on the ground level, so I think it's not the biggest issue, especially because it's for my son. Okay.
So this property has a little bit of a history. Back in 1988, they had an above-ground pool. That above-ground pool was at 4 feet from the side yard. The board at the time, the decision was to approve it for the life of the pool. Very common kind of grant that the board does, basically acknowledging that it's in a non-conforming location, but once its lifespan is up, you remove it, and then you put a new pool, if you want to, in a conforming location. That's certainly the intent of it. Doesn't appear to be what happened here. That above-ground pool is gone. An in-ground pool was later installed, and a 26 by 64 foot addition was put around the entirety of that in-ground pool at a very non-conforming setback. While I do feel for the gentleman, I do not know how we could really justify that, especially given the history. I mean, he is right, it is angled, but that can only really get you so far, and 6 instead of 18 is bad.
Does anyone else like to be heard in this matter?
A motion to reserve decision.
We're going to reserve decision. All in favor of reserve decision?
Okay.
Reserve decision will then decision.
Okay, so you are going to send me the info by mail or something like that? Okay, thank you so much.
One 167-26, Philip Alfieri and Cynthia Orendak. Permission to leave second-story addition and two-story addition to detached garage, 24 by 48.6 irregular, having side yard of 2.5 feet instead of required 10 feet, total of 2 stories with height of 17.85 feet instead of permitted 1 story with height of 14 feet, located forward of front line of dwelling instead of required 20 feet behind front line, to leave fountain in front yard instead of permitted rear yard. And I understand that fountain is over 5 feet in height, so exceeding permitted height of 5 feet actually needs to be added to the call if the board would so do so. And to leave 2 sheds not having a required setback of 20 feet behind the front line of the dwelling. Residence AA District, east side of St. Mark's Lane, approximately 450 feet north of Chateau Lane, Islip.
Sir?
Good evening. My name is Philip Alfieri, 77 St. Mark's Lane, Islip, New York. With regard to the fountain, a contractor was hired to purchase everything and install the fountain. And again, at no point was I involved in any permits and everything. He said everything was legal and he did everything, I thought, to code.
It's okay. The fountain's not the biggest issue of the application. We were just contacted yesterday by the building department. They
Oh,
inspected
okay.
it. It's
And-
over 5 feet in height. It's an additional variance.
And the 2 sheds were there, I'm there 10 years, the 2 sheds were there prior to me moving in. I didn't install those sheds. Okay.
My name is Christian Merschel. I live at 30 Sue Ellen Road, Islip, New York, 11751. It's not directly north in the image, but just northwest, I would say. 30 Sue Ellen Road, right there. It's got a pool in the back. Yes, I'm like right along the driveway there. Not against the garage that is in question, but yeah. I guess my concern was that the footprint changed from what it was. The top was taken off, and there was an attempt at a second story added to it. In the process, the footprint changed, and it's less than 3 feet from the property line. So that was my main issue, would be my property value changing, since you can see it from the street. And also, yeah, I mean, that's the main issue. And the fact that we weren't contacted before in any way about the change to the structure, and it's, pretty glaringly obvious, right in front of your eyes, you can see what's going on. And it's a major change. Okay. The footprint as well as the height. Okay, well, I mean, you can explain that.
I thought it just went up.
Okay, whatever it is. I'm not gonna- Okay, yeah.
Pass them down.
Was that? Am I cool with what? I'm okay with the addition. What I'm not okay with was how it happened. And I don't necessarily trust that it's, I don't have anything. I'm not gonna make it rip it down. That's it for me for now.
My name is Thomas LePage. My name is Thomas LePage. I live at 26 Sue Ellen, so my address is right next door at the bottom part of, yeah, right there, that one, yep. Yeah, so, and the main thing is, we were contacted regarding the first alterations of everything, and the height of the roof, and when coming down, if you're coming down Wingham or going on Sue Ellen there, coming from the other side of the street, it really clearly sticks out and makes, and we're just curious about the property values and everything else that goes along with that, with the change in building. So, all right, thank you.
Scott Sanford, 75 Wingham Drive. So I directly abut by the shed. So only concern I have is just the height. I've lived there a long time, so I'm familiar with what was there previously. So if we maintain that height, that would be fine with me. All right, thank you.
The addition of the two garages are angled away from the property line. The existing structure has been there since 1938. The two additional garages I'm building are angled away from the property line. And for respect for my neighbors, when I take the two sheds down, I offer to put a tree line up to block any view. I mean, isn't it obvious you see everybody's garage from the street? I mean, what would be the point? What's the problem seeing my garage? The original one's been there since 1938. Yes, no, I'm keeping it at the same height, sir. I'm going to keep it at the same height of 14 feet. There's no framing up any of it. Everything was taken down. That's all taken. Yes, sir. Okay, I'd like to reduce it down to 14. Okay.
The only point of contention here was the garage. If he's saying that he's removed that part of it and that it now is conforming and consistent with the previous zoning board approval, there's no issue with that.
Didn't the footprint change significantly?
It does matter in the sense that if it increases the gross floor area above 500, then it's a 10-foot setback. He was granted 2.5 instead of 4 feet. Well, not he. The property was granted 2.5 instead of required 4 feet back in 1980. If it's now 2.5 instead of 10 feet, if the footprints change, that is a substantial difference, but.
Yeah, it says it's a side yard of 10 feet. Required 10 feet, because it's in excess of 500 feet. So 2.5 feet is no longer legal to the side. Okay. So now has, I guess the question becomes, has the garage grown, not height, but footprint grown since that approval? That's 2.5. Right, actually, that's a good point. Going another direction, that's a good point, John. You created a quagmire. So when it was, that's question, when 2.5 was really meant to me, was the footprint over 500 feet? So, I don't know, I kinda have a, Jordan, feel free to jump in, because I have a feel, I feel like the original, so if the 2.5 foot setback was granted for a structure under 500 square feet, and now that structure is no longer 500, then it's worth nothing. It's worth, the approval was taken for nothing. Right, and because it was under 500 square feet, but now it's over, it's not the same structure, it's grown. Yeah, reserve, I think.
Our office about a year ago, and I guess it was the time of stop work order or whatever, and asked me if I knew how he should proceed to the National Register of Historic Places to get some kind of relief for the construction. Has that happened?
I don't believe so, no.
Huh,
You got to amend the call first.
okay.
I do, if we're not gonna, yeah, if we're gonna.
That's another thing, when I had
Yeah, I agree with
purchased
that.
the
Make
house,
a motion, I'll
Yeah.
second it.
You wanna do
when I
that?
had
You wanna-
purchased the house 10 years ago, I was unaware that it was on the register, the historical site. No, it was never brought up at closing, and never, it was never presented to me. I had no idea it was on the historical site. Because I had taken it off immediately once I found out.
You would have, or you did?
I did.
So it's been released from the National Register?
I believe so, yeah. My wife had handled that.
Uh-huh. Okay. Maybe you can give us documentation of
Sure.
that?
I'll have to look into that.
All right, I'd like to make 2 motions to amend the call of the meeting. One is to strike reference of total of 2 stories with height of 17.85 feet instead of permitted 1 story with height of 14 feet. Like that motion? Second, please.
Second.
All in favor? All right, that's removed. And then I'd like to add, in reference to the fountain, that it's got a height exceeding 5 feet in height, right? Is that it?
Yes.
So I'll make that motion that we add that the fountain exceeds 5 feet in height. Can I get a
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, and then I'll take a motion to reserve.
Motion.
Second?
Should we keep the record open? for
Yes.
submission?
2 weeks. You keep the record open so he can submit.
Okay. Is there additional paperwork you'd like to submit
For the, if you're saying for the fountain?
regarding the historical?
Oh, I'll have to, yes, I'll check with my wife on that. I know we had, she was attempting to get it taken off the registry. I'm not sure where we're at with that.
So you had building plans in the building department on which this zoning denial was based. Have they been revised and resubmitted?
They have been revised, you should have.
Second part, resubmitted?
Yeah,
Yes?
yes,
Okay, they're in the building department.
yes,
Okay, so we'll get them there.
okay.
Web uploaded, do you think?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
All right, so reserve decision. Thank you.
Okay, so what's the next step?
Well, you're gonna
You're gonna
submit, you have 2 weeks to submit, and then after you've submitted, we're gonna sit down and review the file
you'll
again, and then
contact
we'll
me
send
by
you a
mail?
decision.
you'll contact me by
Yeah, we'll
mail?
send you a
Yes.
decision.
Okay, thank you very much.
You got it.
Adjourned from August 15 of 2023. Fidel and Maria Perez, permission to expand nonconforming use by 125.35%, exceeding maximum permitted 25%, set forth by Islip Town Code Section 68-17C and 68-415A. Residence AA District, east side of Fulton Street, 100 feet south of Glenmore Avenue, Brentwood.
Good evening. My name is Maria J. Miro. I'm from Maria J. Miro Design and Drafting. I'm located at 1002 Merrick Avenue, North Merrick, New York, 11566. And I'm here tonight to represent Marie Perez. She is the owner of 1 Fulton Street in Brentwood, New York. I guess before I get started, the whole reason with the adjourning, Mrs. Perez and her husband did hire 2 expediters previously. One took some money and moved to Colombia. And the other one is, the other expediter is the one that adjourned the case, and it was my understanding it was the night it was, the night the hearing was supposed to be, she adjourned the case. I've been involved with the architectural drafting with Jim Lerna on this project. So just giving you a little history of that. Tonight, we're respectfully asking the board to grant us relief and allow the full use of the rear commercial building to be used as commercial purposes.
What commercial purpose?
Well, right now, we would like to, I was going to include that in my presentation. It was a sheet metal business in that building. When Mr. and Mrs. Perez purchased the building in 2022, the entire building was used. The way that building is, it's...
Maria, it wasn't a sheet metal business in 2022. Mr.
No.
and Mrs. Perez came before the board, and he said he was a woodworker in
Yes,
2008.
that's correct. It's going to be a woodworking shop. It is a woodworking shop. It's for cabinet doors and cabinets. There's no painting, there's no lacquering on the premises.
Right, we have the minutes from the 2008 hearing when Mr. Perez said that he was a woodworker.
Okay, and unfortunately, Mr. Perez suddenly died in the fall, so we're trying to help Mrs. Perez out right now. And the existing house on the lot is zoned for a 2-family residence. And then again, the building behind the house is a 1-story concrete block building. It almost looks like a garage because it does have a garage door, but there is no storage of vehicles inside that building. I want to make that clear. I do have a layout on the plans of the equipment and what the woodworking shop uses. Okay, I mentioned that. And like I mentioned, Mr. and Mrs. Perez purchased the property in 2022. 2002, excuse me, 2002, my mistake. When they purchased that, they didn't change anything on that property. The building is the same. I actually did a little research of the surrounding properties, and I had a tooth pulled, so if I'm talking a little funny, I apologize. But I took photos of the subject site from the front, the sides, the rear, so you could see where the grass area is in the front, immediately to the north, in the front side of the property with it looks like almost like a 1 or 1.5 car driveway. And then in the back is where this commercial building is. And next door to the commercial building is some more grass area. I did take photos of all that, and so you don't have to keep going up and down the stairs. I also have more photos of the neighboring properties. The adjacent property owners on Suffolk Avenue, this house on 1 Fulton is one house in from Suffolk Avenue. So the adjacent property owners are a hair salon, a deli, and a boutique. Also adjacent to 1 Fulton Street is a parking lot that faces Suffolk Avenue. So I took pictures of all that. Directly across the street from One Fulton is your Car Mart. It also faces Suffolk Avenue. And then there's number 2 Fulton, which is also, from my understanding, used as commercial because it has a whole parking lot over there. So I have photos of everything I'd like to submit. I don't know if you have to look at those first. Okay, so the commercial building is recognized on the building division certificate occupied by a non-conforming sheet metal business. That's what it was recognized on the building. The reason we are here at the board is to allow the expansion of a non-conforming factory use, now a cabinet woodworking shop, to occupy the entire building for an expansion. The building department is saying 125.35%. If you look inside that building, there's no partition walls. I don't know how part of it would have been used in the past. I'm not sure of the history. This gentleman over here probably knows, but there's no partition walls. It's one big opened area. So do you want to add anything to what I'm saying? This is Mrs. Perez, too.
I don't know much. Oh, yeah, Maria Perez on 1 Fulton Street, Brentwood, New York. My husband was the one in charge of that. I never was involved in that. I'm more involved with the garden, and I used to work as a social service for 40 years, so I barely went in there. So, but that was his dream. That was his job. He loved it. But now that he's not here, I just want to legalize that so I can sell it, because I don't want to stay in the house.
I'm open to any questions or.
So they alluded to a lot of this. This property also has a lot of history. It's first before the board back in, I believe, 1978. At the time, there was some contention on whether or not they could continue to use the property for commercial use whatsoever. And there was a bit of a back and forth, but in the end, the Board of Appeals at the time decided that the property could be used for any use that is permitted in Business 1 zoning. As far as what they're doing now, woodworking, that would be allowed in Business 1 zoning as a craft trade shop. There's no issue with what they are doing on the site in terms of use. The concern here is the expansion. Now, the sheet metal business has on the CO, it gives dimensions for the area. It's 27 by 40, a little over 1,000 square feet, I think, 1,080.
1080 it was.
Yeah. That would not encompass the entirety of this building. I unfortunately don't know how they came to the conclusion that it was specifically 1,080 square feet at the time, but it is written specifically as that on the CO, so the building department saying now that the entire structure is being used for the commercial purposes is a 125% expansion. They're not necessarily proposing to build anything new here, but they appear to be utilizing more of the space, whereas maybe in the past only about half of it was being used. So the operation has expanded, even if the structure is not. Well, there's also a residential house on the property, so that would also be non-conforming. Yeah. The issue here is that we only allow 25% expansion as part of the special permit for a reason, which is that these non-conforming uses are typically ones that we would like to see phase out over time. We don't want to give people the ability to expand their operations, improve their financial gains from it, so to speak, because it is supposed to phase out over time. And a commercial use in residential zoning is exactly the kind of thing we probably would want to see eventually be removed. So, or you change the zoning. So I can't really support the expansion that they are asking for. Especially in light of the fact that they don't have any residential buffers or anything.
The parking, by the way, is all contained on that, in that property too.
No, understood. And you do have the commercial properties to the south, but
You
normally a
meaning
commercial
buffer?
property would have more of an organized site plan or something, have residential buffers to protect the neighboring residential properties.
Okay.
None of that's present here. None of that needs to be present here because it's a non-conforming use. It's not really supposed to be commercial in the first place. So it's a difficult position.
Well, I have a potential buyer, and they take the property as it is because, I mean, yes. Because it's listed, if you look at the CO, it said 40% commercial and 60% residential. So, but it's listed as residential.
The problem is, how do we break that building down? I mean, it's just there, it's one building, I mean.
I suppose, I mean, this would be something you'd likely have to work out with the building department. Might be
because I
possible
think-
to, well, no, we don't allow partition walls in garages necessarily.
Yeah, I would
so.
think you need to fire rate the partition walls to, I mean, I don't know what else that building would be used for.
Go here.
Okay. I have your
Name and address. When you get up here, name and address.
Mary Goodwin. Mary Goodwin. I live on 3 Fulton Street, next door. Brentwood, New York. Brentwood, New York, 11717. I want to know what's going to happen. I received this. What's going to happen? Is that going to be affecting my property? Because it's next door. Oh, okay.
Could I ask a question? I'm her daughter, Diana
Yes.
Olson. Diana Olson. I'm her daughter. I live in Holbrook, but I stay with my mom. Sure. Oh, stay there, Ma. Diana Olson, 865 Broadway Avenue, apartment 156A as in Apple, Holbrook, 11741. But I stay with my mom
She's
because of
staying with
her age. And I used to live there too. Huh? I'm sorry.
What's your question?
The question is, whatever Maria would like to do, Maria Perez, is that only affects like going towards Suffolk Avenue? Her property, which is another business there, and then, because that was a house. My mother's owned her property on 3 Fulton Street since 1975. They weren't
50
even living
years.
there.
We're gonna be
Almost
So
51.
the,
So
the
and there's been
application is in
changes
reference to
there.
this structure in the
And
back
some things
corner.
that have been some things that have been changes, nobody even mentioned anything. That's why she's concerned. Yeah, you
That's what
see
I
it, 3
came over-
Fulton.
That's what I came
That's-
over today.
Yeah, she wants to know what's going
What's
on.
going on?
The structure in the back corner here, if you
I mean,
could
look
look up there, it's sort of the white roof structure that's,
That
I
white
mean, it's
guy-
closer to your property actually than it is to Suffolk Avenue.
Yes, it's towards, we could see it from our side, like, there's a
Yeah,
white building there.
so it's the garage in the back corner of their property. That's what the
Okay.
application is in reference to, but
That's what's in, okay, Mommy?
they're not proposing to expand the actual building. They're trying to expand what they're doing in the structure.
Do you understand that? She has a little trouble hearing, that's why.
Yeah, they're
Within the
not
structure,
building
in the
anything
same
new.
property, in their property, her property. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
it doesn't gonna expand to my property.
No, no, it can't,
Okay,
Mother, you
that's
have,
what I
you
was
have your
concerned,
deed.
you know?
Okay, and we didn't know if he did pass. We saw the ambulance, but we didn't realize he passed away. I'm sorry. Mommy, is that, are you done? Do you understand? Any other questions?
No, that would be,
Okay, so it won't
Yes.
affect your
Yeah.
property.
okay, that's all I wanted to
So
know.
you wanted to understand that?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I've
Okay,
been there
thank you.
50 years.
51. Come on, Mommy.
It was-
Okay. I'm a bad daughter, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mother. Sit down, sit down. She turned, she's 90, so she slowed down a little bit.
God bless.
Deny the permission to expand the non-conforming use by 125.35% and instead to grant the maximum permitted of 25%. As set forth by the Essex Town Code.
All in favor? All right, so we're granting you 25%.
25% increase from what you have. So instead of the whole building, we're allowed a 25% increase.
But how are we gonna do that?
How are we gonna break up the buil, we're gonna have to do a partition wall?
Okay, but my question is, how can I break the building to do that?
That's something you have to talk to the building department about. We just gave you the right to expand your use.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
When I bought my house 50 years ago, when I had it, I didn't know how 50 years ago, that building was already there.
You have a copy?
Just tell everybody. Sorry?
Not yet, not yet. We're gonna-
Not yet.
we're gonna let them clear
We
out,
have, there's a
then we'll
method
take
to our
care of this.
madness.
Not much.
You can go.
Yeah, just,
Okay.
okay. No, they're not. Okay, so just before we get to the next case, we're just gonna do some administrative matters. Application number 599-25, Joseph and Rosa Croce. In accordance with the proposed written decision dated March 24, 2026, the application is granted as amended by post-hearing submission. On motion of,
Motion, second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
application number 20-26, ISP Central District LLC. In accordance with the proposed written decision dated March 24, 2026, the application is granted. On motion of,
Motion.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
application number 21-26, Daniel Keebler Jr. and Sarah Muskunis. In accordance with the proposed written decision dated March 24, 2026, the application is granted. On motion of,
Motion, second. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
application number 67-26, Kelsey Rashel. In accordance with the proposed written decision dated March 24, 2026, the application is granted as amended in accordance with post-hearing submission. On motion of...
Motion, second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
So wait a minute, hey, oh my goodness, we'll give it. Application number 70-2661, Keelan Court Associates LLC, in accordance with the proposed written decision dated March 24, 2026. The application is granted as amended in accordance with the post-hearing submission, reducing proposed height to 48 feet. On motion of...
Motion.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
One more.
One more.
Application number 573-25, Garfield Sayville LLC. In accordance with the proposed written decision dated March 24, 2026, the application is denied without prejudice. On motion of...
Motion, second. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and those are all votes of 4-0 with Mr. Wexler not being present. Okay. Last application of the night. Application number 168-26, Southward Ho Country Club, Inc. Permission to erect pavilion 29.2 by 34 and service area having height of 22.5 feet instead of permitted 14 feet, resulting in expansion of legal nonconforming use. Residence AAA District, north side of Montauk Highway, approximately 148 feet west of Otis Court, Bay Shore.
Let the record reflect that I include myself in consideration of this application.
Bye.
Good evening, Sal Coco, BHC Architects, 1300 Walt Whitman Road, Melville, New York, representing Southward Ho Country Club. This is to erect a bathroom pavilion equidistant between the pool and the paddle courts to make it more direct access, rather than going through the clubhouse to the bathrooms. You're able to go right into the bathrooms, either from the paddle courts during the season or from the pool deck. There's supplemental elements that will also be added, fire pits and an outdoor bar area, but it's really primarily to provide safer and direct access to the bathrooms.
Okay. Any questions this time?
I don't.
What is the height? Why is 22?
Well, rather than having a flat roof building there, it blends in, it hides the mechanical systems as well. And the existing building, although you can't see it flat there, I'm sure you're all familiar with it. It's a two-story building with a pitched roof. We're just blending in, making it complementary to the existing architecture of the country club.
Yeah, I don't know how many, we've had a few tonight on the height, and we brought them down. One was asking for 15.5, which we've adjourned, asking them to bring it down.
What's the size of the clubhouse, the height?
The clubhouse itself?
Yeah, the one by the paddle courts. Is it?
Oh, it's 6 times the size of it. And then there's the main clubhouse, which is 10, 12 times the size of it. It's a bathroom pavilion, but it also...
Yeah, it's by
6
the pool,
times the height,
existing
or-
pool, where the existing pool is?
It would be, so if you look at the paddle courts, it would be in line with the paddle courts.
Right.
Well, you have the drawings there, I assume. And kind of breaking that into 2 spaces at the same time. A flat roof in that area, or made to look like a residential garage or something, it's really it's a complementary building to a fantastic looking country club. We wanted to have it blend in appropriately. We're
What are
using
the
same materials
mechanicals
as the
that you're
clubhouse.
screening? Well, you mentioned mechanicals, and that was a reason why you wanted it to be that high. What mechanicals?
Well, we're heating the bathrooms and cooling them as well, and we also have plumbing stacks going up. Rather than having those PVC pipes coming through the roof, we're concealing them.
Okay.
Excuse me. I mean, honestly, I think it would look like you dropped a garage in front of the country club there instead of a building that blended in. It looked like it belonged there over all these years, rather than just it's right there in the middle of all the activity. I think a building that complements, I mean, this is not the best view, but if you looked at a rendering of it, it complements the rest of the country club. It has the same materials and nice roof lines.
Why is it then, why did they decide to do it as an accessory structure rather than just like attaching it to the main structure there? If it's meant to like blend in, if that's the theory of it.
It's really, it's also serving the paddle courts, and it's right directly closer to the pool. Today, if you have to go to the bathroom from the pool, you walk in through the dining area down the hall to the bathrooms. So this is right there, closer to, it's really just a pavilion that's closer to the pool and also closer to the paddle courts.
I mean, I guess the structure doesn't seem like it's that far from the pool and the paddleboard courts.
I know, but
as
if
it
you
exists,
were swimming or young children going through that kitchen area as opposed to a bathroom.
No, I understand that part. So the reason the height's being listed as requiring 14 is because it's an accessory structure. It's a pavilion separated from the main structure. Whereas, at least as far as I would guess, if it was part of the main clubhouse, it could have similar height to the clubhouse, which you were, making all these comments about it blending in with the clubhouse, et cetera. So that's what I don't. So you could have done it maybe as a building addition on the clubhouse. Was that not an option?
Well, we are pretty much complementing the main clubhouse with the bar element, kind of blending in and attaching to it, but it's still a separate structure.
And I think that's what he's asking, why can't we one structure?
That's where I was getting at. Yeah, I mean, this is me assuming that if it were part of the structure, I don't think you would even have an issue with the height. I don't believe they would.
It sounds like you're positing that it's a second principle. You're trying to express that it's really part of the principal structure. So principal structure would be allowed to be 35 feet high.
Yeah. So you wouldn't have had an issue in that case, but instead it's being represented as a accessory pavilion.
That was what we were told to represent it as. I mean, it's a building that's next to the paddle courts, which would be used, the paddle courts are sometimes used in the evening at 10, 11 o'clock. Rather than operating that whole clubhouse, all they need is the bathrooms.
I mean, again, I understand that, but I'm looking at the plan here. It doesn't look like they're that far away. I feel like you could put something that services both the pool and the paddle court area if it was just attached to this two-story building existing, and then you wouldn't have had this problem in the first place.
Well, I mean, I got to be honest with you, constructing a building as an addition is much more complicated than just constructing.
Fair enough, but it wouldn't be violating code. I mean, the issue that we're having here is that it's very rare that we grant height for much of anything. Certainly for a new structure, it would be uncommon. And even if one were to say that this is more commercial in nature than residential, which is residentially zoned, but even that we only allow people to go to 18, so 22 is pretty beyond the pale in that sense.
I'm sorry, are you Austin?
No.
No.
Austin works in the zoning board.
Okay.
Obviously, the actual expansion is not a concern to me, I guess, just to put that on the record. I don't think it's a concern to anybody here. The only reason it's non-conforming is because they don't have a special permit. Otherwise, this would be permitted. It's very normal to have a clubhouse in a golf course. Yeah.
So, Nick, not Austin, suggested maybe 18 feet, because 18 feet is an accessory structure height in non-residential zones.
Okay.
That's up to the board, but is that what you were suggesting?
I was suggesting that 22 is definitely not justifiable if one were to try to look at this as more of a commercial business rather than a residential property, even though it's zoned residence AAA. 18 would be permitted. That's not the zoning, mind you, but it, in terms of the use here, it might be appropriate. Again, based on that, we would be effectively saying that this is closer in
Sure.
terms of a business rather than a residential property, which I think would be reasonable.
I'll make a motion that we grant it at 18 feet based on the, based on suggestion.
Of Nick.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Nick. All right, good night.
We have 12 accessory apartments and 5 two-family family use onlys to renew for a period of 3 years.
Motion. Second. All in favor? Aye.
Thank you. Okay, everybody, that's a wrap. Wonder how Bill's doing.
Hope he gets a job.
Is he still in the top of it?